Well, I tell you what, if it's Friday morning, it must be time for another About Mansfield Consumer Advice series. I'm your host, Steve Casillo. Appreciate you being here today. And you are undoubtedly doing one of three things today, and that's either watching it live on Facebook, watching the video replay on either YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook, or you're listening to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. In any event, we appreciate you being here today. And as we do every Friday morning, we talk about your wealth, your income, your nest egg, your IRA, your 401k, and we talk about your money. And with us here in the studio, as always, every Friday morning is Phillip Washington Jr. Say hello to the audience.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias, y tú. And today, Phillip, I got to tell you, I was listening to your most recent podcast, Wealth Building Made Simple, and you went really deep. In fact, I'm thinking of calling you the philosopher of money.
I like that.
And
philosopher of money.
Yeah, and so
the philosopher. I get it. I play on my. It took a little while. I get it now.
It's not okay. Good. And so. When you came up with the topic of money won't make you feel secure, the first thing I think it was, well, how could that not happen? I mean, if I had $1 million, if I had $10 million, if I had $50 million in the bank, would I not feel secure? Help me out here. What did you mean by the title, Money Won't Make You Feel Secure?
Yeah, so if you my wife has me watching a really good show. I've followed into it called Southern Charm, and it's a bunch of relatively, old money people that are just working through life like the rest of us. And they are, doing everything they can to find happiness, peace, joy. But the money, they started the show with money, and that didn't solve the problem. And if you've ever been around anybody that's had money or just saw somebody, that had money on TV that was angry, insecure, whatever, you realize you would, and I guess in my business I deal with folks with money, and so I know that money does not solve their inner insecurities. Like money is just a symbol for the feeling we want, but the symbol is not the feeling. They're two totally separate things.
Okay, and you had mentioned something about, and there are several trinities. One of them in the Catholic faith being the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. But trinities as it applies to money and security.
Yeah. So the obsession with, ancient civilizations with things like pyramids or the number 3, or even if you really want to nerd out about like geometry or math, and the 360 degrees and
sure
and all that kind of stuff. But
even the number pi starts with 3.
Even the number pi, right? But it's the formula of creation, which Christians say Father, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, which represents also like seed, soil, creation, or you might say mind, body, spirit. Or it might be subconscious, conscious manifestation, or man, woman, child, thought, emotion. Our thoughts and our emotions create our experience, right? So the invisible world manifests in the physical world, and when I say invisible world, I mean like scientists and spiritual people agree that there are invisible forces that create what we see, feel, and experience in the current world, right? They might explain how it comes, how it happens differently, but ultimately there's like invisible forces that create it, and so those invisible forces are like what we think and how we feel, and really feeling is what creates the experience, right? And so what we were talking about was what we want to do is make sure that our thoughts and feelings are in harmony in the good emotions, right? Meaning if you want to feel security, if you want to feel financially secure, then you have to feel it first, whether you have it or not.
Right.
You have to feel secure in yourself internally first in order to appreciate it externally and or attract it externally. I like to use the example of like gravity, because it is another like scientific and spiritual example of like feeling, because gravity is feeling. Gravity is the feeling of the universe.
Sure.
Because the sun has a gravitational pull, which is attraction, that keeps the sun in orbit. It doesn't force not the sun,
The Earth.
the Earth. Yeah, it doesn't force the Earth to stay in orbit. The Earth feels compelled, through gravity to be in orbit, right? If the sun had to force the Earth into orbit, that would like be not a pretty picture, right? It would be stressful for everything involved, and that's the same thing in life. Like if you like you can attract wealth, and you can here's a better example. I did say on my podcast. If thoughts and emotions are male and female energy, the two aspects of the creator.
Yeah.
You have a lot of marriages that are marriages out of ideology only. There's no passion, right? Because they're married because they're both good mothers or fathers. The breadwinner formula works, whether they're both breadwinners or one is a breadwinner and the other one is there because the other one's a breadwinner. But they might stay married out of obligation for a long time, and outside appearances, it might look good, but there's maybe no passion behind it. And that's an example of like thought, thought being there, but no emotion. When the thoughts and emotions are there, you have passion, beauty, all the good feelings you want to feel. And I'm saying it to say, this is like the formula for everything you want, right? If you going back to financial security, like you get the gravity right, you get the feeling right, and then it attracts all the thoughts, ideas, manifestations that you want, and you feel good about it because you started by feeling good about it, which sounds like a virtuous cycle, a circle, the infinity sign.
Yeah.
That's what it means. Like the infinity sign means like
it goes on forever.
It goes on forever, the cycle of life.
Well, and they say that about the wedding ring, is that there is no beginning, there is no end. And the same with the infinity sign. It's all about what's inside you.
It's all about what's inside you. Yep.
So when I retire with $40 million in the bank, it doesn't matter about the money. It's about what's inside of me and how I feel about having $40 million in the bank.
Absolutely. I missed this part on my episode too, and I really am not happy about it, but thank God we're talking about it again. The story of the Garden of Eden is the moral of one of the moral of the stories for me is whenever they ate of the tree of good and evil and they had to leave the garden and go strain and struggle for their existence, which they didn't before in the Garden of Eden, what that's basically saying is, if you try and get all this stuff based on just like your thoughts, right? Just on like our own strength, right? Our thought strength, it's going to be a struggle. Versus if you stay in the Garden of Eden and have thoughts and emotions married together, right? Eating of the tree of life, right? Having them working in harmony, then there's no struggle, right? You attract the 40 million and you enjoy it. Like you enjoy the ride because you feel secure before the 40 million manifest. You feel secure on the way to the $40 million, and when the $40 million is like, oh, it's no big deal, like cool, like I already felt good before, so now I got the 40 million. The 40 million doesn't make or break me; it just is because I am the security, right? The security is me, and the money is going to attract, just like a good mate, right? You're going to attract a good mate, and you're going to keep a good mate based on how you make them feel, which is how you feel.
How do you feel?
I feel amazing.
And in the words of James Brown, I feel good.
I feel good.
That's right. Hey, where can I get that shirt? Combat Company?
It's my gym.
Okay.
It is, I don't even know street address, but it's over in the Design District, Combat Sports. It's a great gym if you want to do Muay Thai or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've never done Krav Maga.
I just want the shirt.
Oh yeah, you can go buy it from the gym.
If someone wanted some more information about getting deep and talk about their financial feelings, how can they reach out to Phillip Washington Jr.?
Best way is stonehillwealthmanagement.com. Has a link to my podcast, a link to book a time, all my contact information. Stonehillwealthmanagement.com.
We do these 10-minute nuggets every Friday morning right here live on Facebook, or again, you can watch the video replay on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and listen to the podcast on your platform. Phillip, let's do it again next week.
Thanks for having me.